Today we are going to do a this or that video, and basically we are going to pit two products that are either same but different, or maybe two products from the same brand that are same but different, and I am going to tell you guys which one I think is better, I guess. So hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, let's go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. So I have 6 product categories with a product that's like either this or that, and in each category, sorry, I've got like B-roll because we're professionals around here. Kidding. But I do have B-roll of me applying each one of the products on like one half of my face so that you can like see in like on the camera in 4K, no filters or anything, up close, like half of the face with one product, half of the face with the other product, and like, you know, what they look like, all of that jazz. Just keep in mind, all my opinion, all my personal opinion, all based on my own preferences, so just take it with a grain of salt. It's just a little bit of makeup fun, and if you vibe with my makeup style, then maybe it's helpful for you. Anyway, let's get into it. Everything will be linked down below for you guys, and also this look is coming. Stay tuned. First products, we have primers. We have the KVD Pore Refining Primer and the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. So same but different, right? These are both advertised as pore smoothing primers, primers that will extend the longevity of your makeup, like smoothing, airbrushing, you know, primers that are supposed to just create this flawless little filtered effect on your skin. So whether or not you want to pick this or that is, I guess, first of all, probably dependent on price, because this one's probably a little bit cheaper. But I have done, as I said, the B-rolls, and look, I've been quite critical of the Hourglass Airbrush Vanish, the Vanish Airbrush Primer in the past. I don't feel like it does a whole lot, if I'm honest. I really don't. And I don't know, it's fine. It's a fine primer. I don't find it to extend the wear time of my makeup a whole heap, but I don't find it hinders it in any way, shape or form. I don't find it smooths my pores a whole lot either. I definitely like working it in with your fingers in the area that you want to increase that coverage on the pores, or that smoothness on the pores, definitely helps it. But I know that for a lot of people this is like a holy grail, but for me it's not a primer that I ever even really necessarily remember that's in my collection. Like I kind of have to just actively be like, oh yeah, don't forget to use this primer, you know, you paid a lot of money for it. So it's not a holy grail or a massive favorite of mine in my collection. Then you have the KVD Pore Refining Primer, which kind of from the second that I tried it, I just fell head over heels in love with it. It's just one of those primers, and I guess this is one of the other differences with the Hourglass one, is that the KVD one for me is just one of those primers that I can't quite put my fingertips on why or what, but anytime I use it, my foundation and my makeup for that day just looks better. It just wears better and it just looks better. Is it the most spectacular pore smoothing primer I've ever tried? No, I still think the Tarte Pore Smoothing Primer is the best one of those that I've ever tried, but it's pretty decent. But the other thing that I love about this is it really just kind of almost like applies this like smooth layer over the skin. It doesn't feel that way. It honestly feels weightless. Like you don't feel it on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy in any way, but it's like it just kind of smooths out a lot of my texture and stuff. And then it has this ever so slight, and I know this might turn some of you off, but it's so slight, this slight stick or tack to it that you can like feel the foundation like stick and grip to it, but it is nowhere near the level of like grip as the Milk Hydro Grip Primer or like the Cover FX Gripping Primer, sorry. It just has ever so slight tack to it that just like seems to, the foundation just kind of seems to grip to it, extends the wear time of it, and then just I just find my foundation looks a lot smoother and less textured throughout the day. So for me, this is definitely the KVD. Next up is a product that isn't, I wouldn't say is necessarily like the same, but it's definitely in the same family of products, and I really have seen, well, I've seen a couple of comments from you guys saying that you're interested in how they compare, and I was like, yeah, actually it's a really good experiment, science experiment, to put them side by side. So the new KVD the KVD Good Apple foundation. So we have the original, which is the Good Apple Skin Perfecting Foundation Balm, and then we have the new one, which is the Good Apple I don't even know the name of this. Good Apple Full Coverage Serum Foundation. So the balmy creamy one and the new liquid one, both are in the shade Light 12. I actually really like both of these foundations. You guys know I've been raving about this one for a very long time now, and this one I did a full dedicated review on along with the primer. If you're interested, I'll link it down below. But ever since I've tried this foundation, I haven't been able to put it down. It's the foundation I'm fully wearing in this makeup look today as well. I love it. So let's talk about the serum one. I love both of these, but they are different, and if I had to pick one over the other personally, I would pick the serum one. I find that the serum one is a lot more lightweight and natural looking on the skin. The KVD Balm Foundation is a really good foundation for, say, a more full coverage event or more nighttime makeup look. I will say you can definitely do what you want. Apply your makeup however you want. I'm not here to judge you. But I wouldn't recommend applying this like the TikTokers seem to apply it. You know, where they put that like full coverage streak on their face and they're like, wow, like full coverage. I really feel like this foundation shines when you use like a more thinner layer on the skin and kind of use it as a light to medium coverage foundation, and then use it to like spot conceal or build up in the areas that you need it. And I think when you do that, you know, it's a beautiful foundation for any occasion, but especially if you do want something that's just going to photograph a lot, like just photograph beautifully, I think this is a really good option. If you have really dry skin, really good option. I think if you have oily skin, just stay away from this. I really do. I think your skin will probably eat it up. But I think this is an everyday foundation, depending on the coverage level, is not as beautiful and easy as this one. This one can feel, if you're not careful, like you have got the foundation on. Like if you're not careful, this can look cakey, it can look heavy. You do need to be mindful of that. I'm fine with it because I know how much to use and I just kind of, you know, can fix it. But if you're someone that's really heavy-handed with product, you probably won't like this as much. Whereas this one is just lightweight. You honestly do not even feel like you're wearing foundation at all. Like you just don't. It is so lightweight on the skin. I find it to be the most smoothing on my texture, on my pores. It doesn't settle in fine lines. It is long wearing. I find this to be absolutely beautiful. Now, ever so slightly it deepens towards the end of the day. But I do kind of find, and it gets ever so slightly dewy. In my review of this, I've got like 2 pictures of wear tests where I did like a full 8 or 9 hour wear test, and I kind of took the photos and they're unfiltered and everything. And you can kind of see it just deepens ever so slightly. Not enough for me to stop wearing it or be concerned about it. And I find that it only happens in like the last kind of, like in hour 7. I find for me and my skin, that's when it kind of starts to turn. But I think it's also my skin starts to get a bit oily then. And when I touch up, I did it the other day where that happened and I just put a little bit more powder through the T-zone and it kind of seemed to neutralize everything again. So it could also just be like just getting hot and oily and all that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind. Again, you know, I'd watch some reviews and stuff like that. That's been my experience with it. Check out my wear test if you want to see more. I just think this is the most beautiful foundation and it's so perfecting on my skin. I just can't get enough of it. So, but yeah, but overall, and I think you can tell as well with the shades, this one is slightly more cool tone, this one's slightly more neutral. I think this is a better shade match for me than this one. This one does deepen ever so slightly in the later hours in the day for me too. It could just also be, I've noticed it with most of my foundations lately, it could just be my skin reacting, you know, chemicals, all of that kind of thing, science. But yeah, but I do prefer this one, but I like both. Moving on, the Tom Ford concealers. So this is the Tom Ford Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. This is in the shade 0C0 Bare, and this is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Concealer in the same 0C0 Bare. I also did a review of this one, and in that review I did swatch comparisons and everything, compared it to this. These are honestly 2 different products. I think it's pretty obvious to see. This is like a cream stick concealer and this is like a liquid concealer. They are 2 different. They are marketed as different products, but I wanted to kind of use them side by side just in case you guys were wondering which one was better than the other. I personally like the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer a lot more than I like the Shade and Illuminate. I really do. If you've tried the Vive concealer and you really like it, you'll love the Shade and Illuminate. This one also has a scent, a fragrance to it that I do not enjoy. It's like a like a florally citrusy weird scent, and I don't enjoy the scent of this one. This one has no scent. I much prefer that. This one, they're similar shades. They're fine. The shade range is fine for me. Not perfect matches, but pretty close. I just really prefer the Traceless matte. The coverage levels, I would say, is quite similar amongst the two. You can build them up to be both the same-ish coverage levels. And in the demo here, I've just got one layer on for you guys so that you can see it, and you can see this Traceless matte in a lot more action in the review. But I just find the Traceless soft matte to be a lot more lightweight on the under eye. It feels like you're not wearing any concealer at all. It is a lot more smoothing, a lot more long wearing, just a lot more like, I feel like it makes my under eyes look a little bit more youthful, if you will. And even when I build this up to be like full coverage, I still feel like it's really lightweight and undetectable on, like, traceless. I said that in the review. It feels really quite traceless on the under eye, whereas this one can feel, if you're not careful, quite heavy and like thickish on the under eye. Can settle in fine lines if you're not careful. Like, this one is a lot heavier and more noticeable, and more, you can feel it a lot more on the under eye than this one. So I personally really like the soft matte traceless concealer a lot more than the shade in Illuminate. Next up, I put the NARS Laguna bronzing cream against the Saie cream bronzer. So this is the Saie Sun Melt natural cream bronzer in light bronze, and then Laguna in the NARS, because these really remind me of each other. They're kind of like a natural soft matte finish to the skin. They have the same kind of feeling as well to them, like the product. So I put these side by side together, and I gotta be honest, I still really love the NARS a lot more. It's just got a little bit more pigment to it in a nice way for me. The undertone of the NARS one is a little bit more, just for me and my skin match, I prefer it. I prefer the way that this one blends out a lot more. I don't know, like, if you know anything about me and this bronzer, you know this bronzer is such a holy grail, intense favorite of mine. It really would take a lot for me to recommend anything over it. And don't get me wrong, I actually think the Saie one is very lovely. Like, I really do. And I think if you're someone that is looking for a cream bronzer that is kind of hard to go overboard with, especially, like, you do need to build it up a little bit more, you'll probably like the Saie one a little bit more. But for me, there's just nothing that compares to this NARS bronzer. It just blends itself out. It's so flawless and undetectable and smoothing and beautiful on the skin. It's long wearing, and there's nothing that compares to it in my mind. Again, my opinion, but I will say the Saie one is quite close to it. It's still a very good product. Next up, I put the Rare Beauty highlighter in the shade Exhilarate and the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Glow Glider Face Architect highlighter in Champagne Glow against each other, because these two highlighters kind of came out at the same time as each other, and I was like, how do these little bad boys compare? I feel like there's not really any of these products that I don't like. I like both of these. The Rare, I do like the Charlotte Tilbury one personally better than the Rare Beauty one. Not by much, but I think the Charlotte Tilbury one's kind of advertised as like a liquid highlighter but in powder form, and I really do feel like it lives up to that claim. It's very smoothing and cream, like liquid-like on the skin. It's very, I probably put a lot more on in the B-roll video than I normally would, because I wanted you guys to be able to actually see it. And it's actually, the Charlotte Tilbury is the highlighter that I'm wearing on my face today. I just find this one is a lot more natural on the skin, whereas this one just has ever so slight more metallic to it, ever so slight, like there's slight little flecks of glitter in it, and that might scare some of you off. It's not glitter that's going to be detectable necessarily on the skin, but it just has ever so soft little baby micro glitters in it, so it emphasizes texture ever so slightly compared to this one. In a bad way? No. Do I still love having this? Yes. I think this is a great product, and I think if you were to buy either, you'd probably really like both. But in terms of like what's more natural on the skin for me, I think it's the Charlotte Tilbury. Last but not least, we are pitting the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lurex Cream Eyeshadows against the new Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Liquid Eyeshadows. So in the video for the B-roll, I put the Lisa Eldridge Daphne versus the Pat McGrath Labs Cosmic Chartreuse against each other, because I think these two are really close in shade for each other. And I actually did a wear test of these as well. So in the B-roll, you're going to see me apply, you know, each one of these to the eye just so that you can see the application. I realized in my wear test I didn't do that. And then I will swipe to the wear test where I did an actual, like I took a photo at the start of the day of my eye makeup, and then I took a photo at the end of the day of my eye makeup. We're just gonna have a system of trust. I didn't like timestamp it or whatever. We're just, you'll see, I look disheveled. I gotta be honest with you guys, they were exactly the same to me. Maybe you can see something different in the wear time pics. I won't put any filters or anything on them. They're taken with an iPhone, not with my camera or anything like that. Where these kind of differ is one, I think you'll tell the difference in application. I noticed that the Lisa Eldridge one is straight off the bat a lot more opaque than this one. I find with the Lisa Eldridge one, I can do one layer or like one application and then blend it out, and that's all I need, that's it. Whereas I feel like with the Pat McGrath one, to get the level of maybe intensity or coverage that I want or opaqueness that I want, I need to do two, or like apply the one kind of amount of product and then do a little bit more, which I think you'll see in the B-roll. Neither here nor there really, to be completely honest with you, for me, but just something to note. The other thing that I find the biggest difference, and probably the biggest selling point maybe for you guys if you are comparing these, is they have slightly different finishes. The Lisa Eldridge one I find to be a lot more subtle. So it's not as an impactful color. It doesn't have like this intense vibrant pigment behind it. It makes it sound bad. It's not at all. It's just that it isn't, like I think you can even kind of tell in the tubes, it's just not as vibrant as the Pat McGrath Labs. And that might be perfect for you, because if you want them for like the everyday or more natural kind of looks, then perfect, right? And I still love this, like absolutely think that it's amazing. Whereas the Pat McGrath Labs one definitely has more of like a brighter pigment to it, and it also has a like proper flecks of glitter through it. So while it is not intensely sparkly, which if you've seen my review of these, I swatched them against like a heap of other cream shadows in my collection, and you could tell like this compared to say the Danessa Myricks sparkly eye colors, it's like got no sparkle in it compared to those, right? But this compared to the Lisa Eldridge has a lot more sparkle to it than this one. So if you're looking for something that's not that whole like proper cream glitter, but isn't like a straight metallic, which is what this is, then you might actually really like the Pat McGrath Labs ones. Might actually like the Pat McGrath Labs ones more than the Lisa Eldridge. But in terms of actual wear time and like crease time on the lids and all that kind of stuff, I found them to honestly be exactly the same. I really did. All right, that wraps up this video. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about these this or that's? Do you want to see another edition? And if you do, let me know some of the products that you want to see compared against each other down below. Just remember, this is all my own opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. But I do have a surprise. I'm going to do a little giveaway because BK Beauty, which I'm so grateful for, they sent me their new lashes. So this was their Risa Does Makeup collab where they did the eyelashes. So they sent me the whole like lash collection in PR, which don't get me wrong, I'm so truly grateful for. But as you know, if you've been around here, I don't honestly wear fake lashes at all. I really don't, and they just really irritate my eyes. I just can't do lashes. And I'm sure some of you out there can. So I thought instead of just keeping them sitting around here for an odd occasion, I would do a little giveaway. So there will be a Google form for you guys in the description box if you want to enter away. I'll put all the terms and conditions and stuff down there for you guys. But yeah, all you have to do is just submit a way for me to get in contact with you worldwide. Totally fine. I'll ship it to you. And yeah, so it'll just be these lashes. If you are interested in some false lashes, then enter in the description box. Okay, that wraps up this video. Make sure you guys let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're watching till this point, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. As always, I hope that you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.